Okay, so apparently this video is the 100th episode of whatever this is, whatever this absolute disaster I've been making on my channel for the past 5 years is. This is the 100th one of those. I wish it had been the last video, because that was a FNAF 4 video, and the first video on my channel was a FNAF 4 video, but oh well, this is the 100th video on my channel. So today I have some good news and some bad news. On the one hand, Bendy in the Dark Revival is coming very soon, but on the other hand, it may be the last game that the Meatly ever makes. We'll discuss that in a minute. Let's talk about Bendy in the Dark Revival and Audrey first. A few days ago, the Joey Drew Studios channel uploaded a video called "Why is Bendy in the Dark Revival taking so long?" This confirmed a suspicion I've had for quite a while, that the Meatly is making all 5 chapters of Bendy in the Dark Revival at once. So as Bendy and the Ink Machine took about a year and a half to make, hopefully we'll get some more info later this summer, or possibly even the full game coming out. Now, an interesting thing to note here is that when Bendy walks up beside Audrey, he doesn't seem to be aggressive towards her. It's almost like he's standing beside her as his equal. Now, this could just be a meaningless detail for the trailer, but remember back to the very first trailer when Alice Angel said something about choosing the light over the dark. So what if this is the version of Audrey that chose the dark, that chose to cower before demons? Alright. So this wouldn't really be enough for a full video on its own, but I actually do have another theory about the true identity of Audrey. Actually, that's not quite right. What if Audrey had no identity? What if she was an original creation of the ink? Think about it. All the other characters in Bendy have had at least some exposition before the reveal of their ink creature that they transformed into. But with Audrey, nothing. No mention of her in Bendy and the Ink Machine, Boris and the Dark Survival, or even the books. Now, that may just be them trying to keep her under wraps, but what if she was never a part of the studio? What if she was born purely from the ink? We know from the audio logs in Chapter 5 that Bendy was Joey Drew's first attempt at creating an ink monster, and there was no employee sacrifice there. So what if Audrey was the first successful attempt at creating a fully intelligent ink creature out of nothing but the magical ink from the machine? And don't worry, there's evidence too. Audrey seems to have no memories at all of her past self. Every other character in Bendy has had at least some recollection of his or her previous life. But Audrey always seems confused and dazed about where she is, not even being able to recognize the studio. And what about the line of, "How very interesting, such knowledge"? Most people seem to think that this is Bendy talking here, but the more you think about it, the more it doesn't make sense. For one, it doesn't really seem like something that would be said by a bloodthirsty monster. Second, the voice in the trailer seems to be observing something. So what would that voice be observing? Well, what if this was Audrey's first memory? What if it was the voice of the person overseeing the creation of Audrey, noting that she is showing signs of intelligence? In that context, the line makes a lot more sense, especially as there was an ink pool shown right after that line was said. Even the fact that Aubrey has to choose a side between light and dark lines up with this theory. All the other characters have already picked sides, but Audrey is a blank slate, and she now has to choose whether to side with the demons or the angels. Okay, so now on to the bad news. Before I get into this, I recommend you go watch my video on the troubles with Kindly Beast from last year. I'll try and put that in the iCard up above, because what is going on now will make a lot more sense if you go watch that. Okay, so from what it looks like, Kindly Beast is going out of business for real this time. Alright, so on the same day that it was announced that all 5 chapters of Bendy and the Dark Revival would be coming at the same time, Showdown Bandit was not only pulled from Steam, but both the Showdown Bandit and Kindly Beast's Twitter have been completely wiped, along with Kindly Beast's website and YouTube channel, meaning that my Showdown Bandit videos are one of the only places you can still see the trailers. So, from the looks of things, it seems that Showdown Bandit got itself cancelled. And it also seems that this is the end for Kindly Beast, and quite possibly all things Bendy. I mean, after Bendy and the Dark Revival, they were going to make Showdown Bandit Part 2. And once they're done with that game, there's really nothing else to make, or even anything that they've hinted at making. So it almost seems like they're going to release Bendy and the Dark Revival with one final blaze of glory and then go out of business. And it is so incredibly sad to see this happen to one of my favorite game companies. As of right now, it really does seem to be the end for Kindly Beast. And I did talk about how companies die in stages. It just seems like they're finally not able to cling to life any longer. And remember, Kindly Beast is the parent company of the Meatly and Joey Drew Studios. And if they're going out to business, it's pretty much lights out for everything Bendy related. Okay, am I the only one who notices the events in the Kindly Beast company directly mirror those in the Kindly Beast games? Like what happened with Mike Mood last year, with 2 friends getting together and forming a company, and then one friend turns out to be a jerk and overworks all the employees, then falls into debt. That is basically the story of Bendy and the Ink Machine. And the recent events perfectly mirror those in the story of Showdown Bandit, where the Showdown Bandit was, and I'm quoting directly from the Steam game description, unceremoniously cancelled and left to rot, which is exactly what happened to the game itself. Can we get some Fs in the chat for Kindly Beast and Showdown Bandit? Alright, I'ma head out now.